Welcome to the Community Church of Chapel Hill, Unitarian Universalist. I am Larry Ross, a member of the Worship Associates Ministry here at the church, and I want to welcome each of you to our Sunday online service and to our new space, currently under construction, which we will occupy in 2021. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you are watching us today, you are welcome here. Please join in singing our opening hymn, When Our Hearts Are in a Holy Place. We come together now to worship. Spirit calls to spirit. Hand reaches out to hand. Heart joins with heart. Voice lifts with voice a song of praise. Come, let us worship together. Today's chalice lighting words are by Christine Robinson. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of life we share together.
be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole. May we be whole. May we be
The reading is Sabbath's 1998, Part 6, by the poet Wendell Berry, also known as the title, A Costly Year. By expenditure of hope, intelligence, and work, you think you have it fixed. It is unfixed by rule. Within the darkness, all is being changed, and you also will be changed. Now I recall to mind a costly year. Jane Kenyon, Bill Lippert, Philip Sherrard, all in the same spring dead. So much companionship gone as the river goes. And my good workhorse, Nick, dead, who called out to me in his conclusive pain to ask my help. I had no help to give. And flood covered the cropland twice. By summer's end, there are no more perfect leaves. But won't you be ashamed to count the passing year as its mere cost? Your debt inevitably paid, for every year is costly, as you know well. Nothing is given that is not taken, and nothing taken that was not first a gift. The gift is balanced by its total loss, and yet the light breaks in. Heaven seizing its moments that are at once its own and yours. The day ends and is unending, where the summer tanager, warbler, and vireo sing as they move among illuminated leaves. I invite you to hold a few moments of silence with me. we have an intermittent tradition, an occasional tradition, if that's possible, in this church, of holding services at the tail end of the year to mark the turning of the year. These services, by their very nature, offer an opportunity for looking back at the year that was, taking stock, remembering, and choosing what you will carry with you into the new year and what you will leave behind in the year now passing. These services also offer an opportunity for looking forward, for choosing what commitments, what values, what intentions you will bring into this new year about to begin. This first reflection, that first reading by Wendell has to do with the looking back part. The reading, known familiarly under the title A Costly Year, is an appropriate reading for this looking back part. For it has been a costly year. It has certainly been a costly year, a cost I think we have not yet even fully fathomed. In Barry's poem, he remembers the loss of 3 dear friends, 3 fellow poets. He mourns the loss of a dear animal companion. He recalls the devastation of disasters. His litany brings to mind all the losses that we might hold from this year. There are different rituals I have heard of, have even participated in, for saying goodbye to a passing year. One ritual involves writing a list of what you want to leave behind on a scrap of paper and releasing it by burning it. Another ritual is to find an object that represents all you want to leave behind, to set it down on one side of a doorway, and to then step across that threshold, feeling unburdened. These rituals are good, and I commend them. However, knowing 2020, burning that list of things you want to leave behind, runs the risk of starting a 5-alarm fire. And when you set that object down on one side of the threshold, be careful it doesn't fall through the floor. But I find Wendell Berry's perspective to be so wise. Do not count the passing year at its mere cost, your debt inevitably paid, for every year is costly. As you know well, nothing is given that is not taken, and nothing taken that was not first a gift. So yes, take this time with me to count the costs, to mourn them and to grieve them. And yes, take the time to think of each thing you will put behind. But also take up the time to pick up what you treasure, what you love, what you hold as good and blessed and worthwhile. I invite you to imagine these things as well. Imagine picking up what you treasure, what you love, what you hold as good and blessed and worthwhile. Hold these fragments. Hold them lightly, but also hold them closely. Carry them with you. Carry them with you. Each week, we hold in our service a time for sharing the joys and the sorrows that we bring with us into this beloved community. This past week, several in our community reached out asking me to place stones for joys and sorrows. First stone this week is placed for a tremendous sorrow. Andre, the son of church members Kate Carroll and Jim Morris, and brother of Genevieve Morris, died tragically a little over a week ago when he was struck by a motor vehicle in Florida. Our hearts break for the loss of Andre, and we extend our prayers of care and compassion to Kate, to Jim, and to Jen. Know that we are with you in your grief. Cassandra Seed asked me to place a stone in honor of her husband David's father, who passed away on December 18th. They miss him terribly. We hold all of David's family in our thoughts this morning. Dave Klibenow asked me to place a stone of celebration. Dave Klibenow and Donna Washington will be celebrating their 25th wedding anniversary on New Year's Eve. Congratulations to Donna and to Dave. Ivy Brzezina and Lawrence Kirsch asked me to place a stone of joy as well. They write, our joy is our daughter, Ari, is engaged to Amiel Evans, her partner for 10 years. They've not set a date for the wedding and are waiting for the pandemic to end so family and friends can celebrate safely. I want to place a stone of appreciation. Doing this service in one take this morning makes me think of how grateful I am to Glenn Merbach, not only for his music, but for all his technical wizardry in assembling a service. And a final stone is placed this morning for all those joys and sorrows we hold in our hearts.
Prayer this morning is from Judith Smith Valley. Eternal Spirit, God of light and darkness, at this time of year, when days are short and nights are long, as we take stock of life, as we reflect on success and defeat, allow us an awareness of how far we have come. Remind us of friends and family who remain steadfast and dear to us. Remind us to bundle together, to keep warm within our family and community. Rejoice with us in our accomplishments and mourn with us our losses. Help us make workable resolutions and goals, knowing that our personal lives touch and influence the life of others. Give us perspective to make priorities. Be with us, Eternal Spirit, as we render designs and draw blueprints for the year to come. So be it.
you feel inclined, please join me in singing There's a River Flowing in My Soul. It's really very simple. There are 3 verses, and the first one goes, there's a river flowing through my soul. The second verse, we substitute heart for the word soul. And in the third verse, we substitute mind. The entire lyric is like this. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul. And it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul. And it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart. And it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind. And it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my soul.
For the second reflection, I've chosen a poem by John O'Donohue. John O'Donohue is a poet, a Catholic priest, and a Hegelian philosopher. I invite you to listen to his poem, appropriate for this service, entitled For a New Beginning. In out-of-the-way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge. For a long time, it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety, and the gray promises that sameness whispered, heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent, wondered, would you always live like this? Then the delight, when your courage kindled and out you stepped onto new ground, your eyes young again with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you. Though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is at one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit to adventure. Hold nothing back. Learn to find ease in risk. Soon you will home a new rhythm for your soul, senses, the world that awaits you. I invite you to hold the time of silence with me again. This second time of reflection deals with awaiting and imagining what possibilities lie before us. This coming year does seem like a year of possibility. And so with each possibility I name, I invite you to pause and to imagine. And in response, I invite you to say, wherever you are watching this, I await these possibilities. I await these possibilities. There are possibilities with every turning over of the calendar page to January 1st. I await these possibilities. There are the possibilities a vaccine may make possible. I await these possibilities. There are all the possibilities with resuming in time, gathering in person. I await these possibilities. There are the possibilities with resuming in time, church together. I await these possibilities. There are the possibilities for gathering and programming that this new space will make possible. I await these possibilities. And with this new year, there are possibilities not merely for returning to the old, but for choosing new ways. I await these possibilities. As we imagine and discern, let us once again hear these words by John O'Donohue. Though your destination is not clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning. Unfurl unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning.
So we would like to conclude the service on a note of thanks. And you may know the song, "We Give Thanks for This Precious Day." And I have added some additional lyrics, both regarding the space, this new space that we look forward to using joyously, and also giving thanks for the troubled year, for those things that were actually blessings in this troubled past year. So please join me in singing, "We give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for the time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day." We'll sing that once at the beginning and then once at the end.
please join me in these words to extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please join us in singing Shalom.